Hello and welcome to the Allett lawn. At Allett we have a really wide range of mowers, so we have 13 different models going from the smallest garden to the biggest football pitch or cricket outfield, and that's 26 different widths as well within those model ranges as well. So we really like to do these comparison videos. They're not going into detail on the product, but what they're doing is doing the comparison. So for example, today we're going to be talking about the Cambridge 43 versus the Kensington 17. Both mowers are the same width, but they are just a little bit different. So by doing a comparison, if you're not sure whether you want to be going down the petrol route or the battery route, then hopefully this video, by the end of it, you'll have made your mind up which is going to be the best for you. There are individual product videos for both of these products, and if you then want to go into the detail, then you can certainly do that on our YouTube channel. But we hope the comparison will just pick out the main differences for you to make your decision much easier. So my name's Austin Jarrett and I'm from the Allett factory, and I'm hoping to give you a really frank comparison between these two to help you make your choice. Both of these machines, the Kensington and the Cambridge, are very similar. In fact, a lot of the components are the same and the chassis are essentially the same. But there are some differences that you need to be aware of to make the choice. So to start off with, the Kensington is a heavier machine. This is coming in at 53 kilograms as opposed to 39 kilograms on the Cambridge. So if you're going to be lifting the machine or you want a lighter machine to maneuver around a smaller garden, then the electric Cambridge would definitely be a consideration for you because of the difference in the weight. Let's start at the front. So we'll talk about grass boxes. So you can see there's a significant difference. The Cambridge is a more recently designed product, so there are some more up-to-date features. The Kensington product in all its guises has been around now for probably 30 years in its base format. So the updates have been relatively small on that. Plus we're seeing a major trend towards customers wanting to buy electric and all the advantages of that. And we're finding that, if anything, the Kensington sales aren't growing anywhere near as much as the Cambridge sales. So just bear that in mind. Starting at the grass box. The grass box is a rotor-molded grass box on the Kensington. It's extremely tough and extremely durable. So this is going to last an awful long time. The grass box itself, in its 17-inch width, comes in at 3 kilograms. The Cambridge grass box is a new wireframe design with a mesh covering, and this comes in lighter at 2.1 kilograms, and that's without any grass clippings in it. So what does that mean? It's easier to pick up, and once it's full of grass clippings, of course, the difference between them becomes less. The Cambridge grass box with the mesh allows the air to pass through and retains the grass clippings easier. The Cambridge grass box has a lip around the outside which retains the grass clippings, but it does make it a little bit more difficult. You have to give it a bit of a shake when you're emptying the grass box out. But the durability of this grass box is without doubt. Moving on to features like the front rollers. The front rollers themselves are both exactly the same. Both machines have the lawn rake as well, or the comb, and we find that's a really important feature for getting strong stripes and catching the grassweed grasses that are lying down. Just stand them up to present them to the blade. The cartridges are both 6-bladed cylinders. And the bottom blades are also exactly the same, and the ease of adjustment is also exactly the same. Just with the Kensington, when you're adjusting the cylinder, you do just need to remove the grass box hoop on which this heavy duty grass box sits on, but that is easily replaced like so. try and make this look as easy as possible. And then that is back on again there as well. The big thing, of course, is electric versus petrol, and that is really where I think the main choices sit as to whether you want to go down the more modern electric route or whether you're much more comfortable with the petrol. And of course, that choice is yours. So this is the Honda version engined machine, and that also is available with a Briggs & Stratton engine as well. The Honda is just a little bit more expensive. It's a higher specification, more professional version. With the Cambridge, it's of course all about the battery. So this one small battery here, which is based on the Greenworks platform, is a 40-volt system, and the machine comes as standard if you order the bundle with a 4 amp hour battery. It's a 40-volt system, maximum system, that we're using on here. So as a comparison, you know, what is the, people get range anxiety about the battery system, just like they do with cars. And the amount of energy that we have in one of these batteries is 144 watt hours of charge. That's the amount of energy that we have in there. And if it helps you to make a comparison, 1 litre of fuel actually has about 9,000 watt hours in the fuel itself. But to level up things, we need to make a comparison, because when we burn the fuel in an engine, you have to remember an engine is only about 25% efficient. So that 9,000 watt hours in a litre of fuel, by the time you take into account the 25% efficiency, represents 2,250 watt hours. Still comparing it though to 144 watt hours in here. So really the comparison is the amount of energy that there is in that litre of fuel compared with this battery. And so 1 litre of fuel, once it's burned and gone through the efficiency or inefficiency of the Kensington engine, is about 20 recharges of this battery to 1 litre of fuel. So you might think that's an amazing difference, but what I need to give you is that we've designed the machine for homeowner, both machines for homeowner lawn mowing. And this battery, depending on the grass and how much grass you're cutting, will do easily 400 square meters with one discharge. So that's when I go and charge the battery up, and it doesn't matter whether I've got a whole bunch more energy because I'm not going to be using it on that mow. So it really negates the fact that I have a massive amount of energy, but if I need to mow a lot, then I'm much more likely to be going down the petrol route. Or if I was a small lawn contractor that had cylinder mowing contracts, then I would choose the Kensington, unless I want to go down this route and have several batteries in the van. Sorry, that was all a bit geeky, but you can skip through that if you want. But I just wanted to explain some of the science behind it. And of course, I'm an engineer, so this sort of stuff does just intrigue me. 1 litre of fuel, from an environmental point of view, you've got to remember once you burn that through your machine, you're creating another 2.3 kilograms of CO2, which we're releasing to the environment. And if you source your electricity, as I do, from renewable sources, then I really have very close to zero carbon production when I'm mowing with my battery mower. I like to think that when I'm mowing with sunshine, and that is quite a nice feeling. So with that amount of mowing that I'm getting out of this battery, really the range thing, if you have a lawn that's less than 400 meters, the machines are designed for 200 meter average size lawns, that really we've got ample capacity within this battery itself. The Kensington does have a 2 litre tank, incidentally, so really, you know, that's why most of you that are already using a Kensington will really just fill this mower up once a year to get all the mowing done. Make sure though with fuel that when it comes winter time, do not leave that fuel in the tank. Fuel does go stale after 30 days. So do think about that and the problems that will cause for the carburetor. So what are the other reasons I'm going to go down the petrol route or the electric route? You know, when I come to the mower and the battery's flat, I really haven't got any waiting. When I've got an empty tank, I'm just going to fill that up with fuel, assuming that I've got a fuel can that's got fresh fuel in it. Emissions, of course, if that bothers you, both the emissions of noise as well as the carbon emissions from burning fossil fuels. So again, if that concerns you, then you know which decision you're going to make. One other soft factor as well is when you're looking at garden machinery dealers or outdoor power equipment dealers, when it comes to servicing, they are generally a lot more familiar with a petrol engine and servicing that or repairing and diagnosing. And we find in the dealer network, although they're learning fast, are not quite so familiar with the battery power and electric motor side of things. Of course, as the trend is that garden machinery in general is switching over to battery power, that we'll find that that will change over time, of course. Electric, well, things like it being a quieter product as well, to give me earlier mornings or later evening mowing without disturbing any of my neighbours is a great thing. I don't have spark plugs, I don't have engine oil, and I don't have fuel that I need to keep clean all built into this system. So I probably there's just less care about this machine. I still have to set the cylinders on both in exactly the same way, but as far as reliability of the power source, then the electric definitely has a lot of advantages. Fuel problems, 99% of mower problems in a petrol engined mower are to do with fuel cleanliness and carburation. And that carburation is normally affected by dirty fuel or fuel that is going stale. And we're finding now, as they're changing fuels and trying to make them more environmentally friendly, that we're finding that those fuels are much more difficult for these small engines to cope with reliably. Effectively, I have a gas station in my house in several places. If I need to do a recharge, I don't have to go down the road and pick up fuel in my petrol can and risk the spillage in my car. I'm always going to be able to refill this at home. I can also use this battery in other garden tools. So I have a small chainsaw, I have a really great blower which is great for cleaning up the patio, and I have a strimmer for doing the edges, and it's all powered by this Greenworks battery, so I can get to use it into lots of different products and I don't need to have multiple engines in my garage. And one final thing as well is about recoil start. Some people find that more difficult. And to start the engine on this machine, I'm going to flick it to the on position. I'm going to put it into the choke. I'm going to make sure that the fuel is switched on. And then what I'm going to do is pull this to start. I'll then remove the choke and the engine runs more smoothly. With the Cambridge, I'm just going to make sure the battery is fully inserted, that the safety key is also in there, and then simply all I'm going to do is press the first stage and then that is a lot less strenuous altogether. If you've got upper body strength or shoulder issues, then of course the recoil start is just that little bit more difficult. I have to say the Honda in particular is a really reliable starter as well. Keep your fuel clean, and that should start first pull. That's the first pull of the day on that, and that started straight off. On the Kensington, I have independent blade drive and rear roller drive. So I can engage the blades, I can engage the rear roller and the blades, but I can also engage the rear roller on its own for transporting around the garden. That's slightly different with the Kensington. I need to engage the blade drive first by engaging the motor, and then the rear roller drive will only operate when the cylinder is being driven. So if you have to travel a long way to your lawn from where you store your mower, then that is slightly less convenient because the blade is spinning while you're transporting it. The mower's not so heavy, of course, so I can push this or pull this to the lawn anyway without even having to start it up, but the choice is really yours. Speed control on both of these machines. I control the electric motor speed control on a small dial here. I've got 6 positions, 6 speeds. I can go slow speed if I'm in a small and intricate area that's maybe got, it's confined. And I can go faster when I want to pace it up, or maybe I need to adjust it to the speed that I'm comfortable at walking at. Whereas on the Kensington, we're controlling the engine speed through the throttle. So if I want to go faster, then I just increase the engine speed, and that turns the rear roller faster and the cylinder faster. As with both of these, the clip rate, the clips per meter don't change with your forward speed. Height of cut is another important factor. Of course, we lift and lower the rear roller depending on whether we want a higher or lower height of cut. And both machines are exactly the same in that we have this height of cut control knob at the back, which is threaded, which allows me to choose any position between a minimum height of cut of 6 millimeters to a maximum height of cut of 32 millimeters on both models. So I just rotate this knob accordingly. There is a window in the side here. On the Kensington, there is a indicator in the window from S for scarifying up to level 4, which is the highest height of cut at 32 millimeters. It's slightly different on the Cambridge in that the window on the side here actually has a millimeter scale, so that what you're able to do is to tell approximately where your height of cut is. The big thing about Allett mowers is the interchangeable cartridge system. Not only does it make it really easy to remove the cylinder cutting cartridge and take that to your dealer for sharpening or servicing, it also allows you to take them out and do backlapping. Watch the video on backlapping just to put an in-season edge back on your cylinder. But if you want a really great lawn, cylinder mowing is a really big step towards making that great lawn. But the cultivations and the removal of the thatch layer within your grass, which all healthy lawns produce, is so much easier because within this one machine you're able to insert cartridges like this scarifier cartridge using spring tines to scratch and pull out the dead material in the canopy. So you can swap these over. There are several cartridges you can put in there. You can put a 10-bladed cylinder, a scarifier, a verticut, a dethatcher, an aerator and a brush. And on top of that there's also a special mounting stand which I can mount on my garage wall and then neatly store all the cartridges in it, and that applies to both of these. But because of the changes in the grass box and also the speed at which I can change the height of cut, the cartridges that go into this machine are called QC, quick change cartridges. The cartridges that go into the Cambridge mower are called RC, that stands for rapid change cartridge. And the Cambridge now is able to do a really, really quick change with less operations than the Kensington. So for the Kensington, to change the height of cut, I need to remove the grass box hoop and then undo 2 screws here, and also undo 4 screws on the side guard and remove the side guard. And that then allows me to pull the cartridge out. And it's really quick. It's quicker than I think all of our competitors, but we wanted to make that quicker. And we do know that by having quicker cartridge changing, we are much more likely to change the cartridge over and then do that additional verticutting operation, for instance, that we know the lawn needs, but we can't be bothered to change the cartridge over. When it's really quick, then that isn't then a factor. And what we've done with the Cambridge mower is we've made that a quicker system with the RC cartridge. And what you'll notice on the left and right hand side of the cartridge, attached to the cartridge, are the grass bag mounting brackets. But at the same time, what we're doing is we're also, for safety, covering an aperture in the side guard. That protects the operator from putting his finger into the drive system of the machine, but what it does allow us to do is to extract the cartridge without having to remove the side guard. So now we have no grass box hoop to remove, and then we just undo the 1 screw, the 2 screw, and then the cartridge is able to be withdrawn. And it's actually a third of the time to change a cartridge on the Cambridge than it is on the Kensington. So we've just got a quick time-lapse video for you now of me changing the cartridges as fast as I can, and you'll see those times that we're achieving on the cartridge changes. So I hope that shows you a 1-minute cartridge change instead of a 3-minute cartridge change. 3 minutes is still no time at all, but I can tell you that from my own experience that you are much more likely to change that cartridge over and do that extra operation that you know you really ought to do in order to take your lawn to the next level. Just a couple of other things that are exactly the same. Of course, we've already talked about the lawn rake or the lawn comb, which fits just behind the front roller, and that's fully adjustable. There's some great videos showing you exactly how to adjust that to the right level. We've also got the grooved front roller, so that's available in 17 inches wide, and what that does is you just have these few contact points where we contact the grass. And one of the things about the cylinder mower and the front roller is you're in danger of laying over long grass before it has a chance to reach the cutting cylinder, and therefore the grass ducts under the bottom blade. And what this does is it does two things. One, it lays down less grass so that we get a cleaner cut. And secondly, if you've got a very fibrous, springy type of turf, especially some of the warm climate types of grasses, then by having a higher ground pressure at these points, you have about 23% of the contact you do with a solid roller with this roller. It means that the ground pressure is higher and it sinks into that longer grass to give a much more consistent height of cut, and to get your grass gauge measurement of actual height of cut and what you're seeing on the machine height of cut to be much more the same. We also have front wheel kits which come, this is optional by the way. You can add this to your basket and order this, but coming as standard with both machines is a front wheel kit as well. That allows us to remove the front roller, put the wheels on either side, and then the grass doesn't get knocked over, rolled down in front of the mowing cylinder. And again, if you've maybe been on holiday for a couple of weeks and come back to slightly longer grass than you normally would mow, then this means that you can at least get back in control by not knocking the grass down with the front roller and just cutting the grass without the rolling. So that's those are in the box when you order both of these mowers. So I hope that's been helpful to you to make a comparison between these two mowers. They're both absolutely great mowers. You will neighborhood dominate as far as your lawn's concerned with either of these machines, but I hope that has now got you fully informed. As we've said, there are full videos on each of these products, an in-depth look at the features. We're just looking at the comparisons between these two to help you to choose if you're in any doubt as to which one is the right mower for you. Thanks for listening.